So I want to talk to you guys about this Joe Rogan clip that I came across. And he says something that I've been saying for quite a while now. And some of you guys can probably remember some of these videos where I've said this. And that is, Democrats are basically continually shooting themselves in the foot. By having this Trump derangement syndrome, they've made it so obvious, right, that they're blatantly lying about everything. They've made it so obvious, and I've said this time and time again, if Democrats just would have kept their TDS in check and would have gone after Trump for like one thing, just one, and they threw him in prison for, 8, maybe 10 years, they might have actually gotten away with it. But the fact that they hit him with one case, and then another case, and then another case, and then another case, and then they ended the statute of limitations on this thing, and they brought another case because the statute of limitations was over, and then this case, and then this case, and then the mainstream media, they bash them, and then Democrats, they bash them, and then, if they just would have done one thing, they might have actually gotten away with it. But because it was so cartoonish, oh, this thing, that thing, this thing, that thing, they made it so obvious what they were doing. And Joe Rogan actually speaks to that a little bit in this clip. And I've got some clips to show you guys after this, so stick around. But here it is. Let's dive in.
We're defending ourselves. We were right. We were just a little off in timeline.
No, we were wrong about that for sure. But I do think...
But we were right about the general.
Well, I
that
think
red wave happened.
It's been something I think, like, for all the shit that lots of people get, there has been like wave after wave after wave of people leaving the Democratic Party. I'm still seeing it online. Someone just yesterday posted some video and it was like, I'm done with you. I was like, how are you guys still shedding people? How are you still?
They're going to keep shedding people. They're not going to correct course. This is a buffalo drop. Do you know those buffalo jumps?
No.
You know what the Native Americans used to, one of the ways to hunt buffalo was to get them to the edge of a cliff and just run at them, and they just fall off the edge of the cliff, and then people would be waiting on the bottom, and they butcher them and eat them.
Okay.
We're in that pile of buffalo.
We're all being run off the cliff?
Yeah, they're going to go off the cliff. There's no way they're not.
Yeah.
They're not course correcting at all. They're saying stupid shit. It's all nonsense. Their understanding of social media and the dynamics that you set up by having completely state-controlled mainstream media where they only said the narratives that you guys wanted. They all said it in step. So you could watch different programs repeat the exact same words, exact same phrases. We know they got talking points. We don't trust you anymore. We don't trust the New York Times. We don't trust the Washington Post. We don't trust CNN or any of the MSNBC, but they're all full with propaganda.
Yeah.
And so that's why the internet rose. It's not because there was some sort of a fucking right-wing conspiracy and heavily funded. No, you guys suck. You guys fucking suck. And you're not real people, and you're not, nobody wants to hang out with Brian Stelter. You know what I'm saying? None of these fucking people are people that people can actually relate to and like.
Facts. They've gone so TDS crazy that they've made it completely obvious what they're doing. And I want to play a couple of clips to actually display what Joe Rogan was talking about there. And the fact that, part of me wants to say that they're smart, but then the other part of me is like, bro, these people are not the brightest crayons in the box. Like, the light's on, but nobody's home. Because why would you all repeat the same thing? Check out a couple of these clips.
To our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous 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 to our democracy.
This is scary. Hashtag 25th Amendment.
The president
is not equipped to do the job.
So now they're saying he's mentally incapacitated. And more than 24 Democratic lawmakers are backing a bill that says he should leave office.
Should he be removed from office?
His brain is simply incapable of processing the information, emotionally, psychologically unstable. Initiate proceedings to remove the president.
You and several of your Democratic House colleagues met with a psychiatry professor from Yale, Dr. Bandy Lee. She told CNN today, quote, as the president is unraveling, he seems to be losing his grip on reality and reverting to conspiracy theories.
Dr. Lee and other psychiatrists who've been up to meet with members of Congress have been predicting increasingly delusional and paranoid behavior on the part of the president. The president is dangerous and unable to successfully meet the powers and duties of office. We got serious stuff to deal with, and instead we're caught up every day in what looks like the country debating the mental health of the president. So it's a very dangerous and unstable situation. The issue is, what is our institutional responsibility as the U.S. Congress? And we've got that under the 25th Amendment. Everybody should go and read it.
No, Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
People are talking about the 25th Amendment, and they're saying he's just not mentally fit to be the president. And I think if you're doing this, I mean, is there a mental fitness problem? We all know the ramifications of nuclear war.
Can Americans be concerned about the president's mental fitness?
This president is not fit.
This is 25th Amendment kind of stuff
that should have already activated the vice president and a majority of the cabinet to remove.
Kamala Harris picks Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as running mate.
What does Walz bring to this?
He's cuddly.
And cuddly.
Cuddly. I think she went for maybe a little more of a cuddly choice.
It tells more about the texture of the man. He seems to almost have a twinkle in his eye.
Tim Walz is the opposite of weird.
Tim Walz beats America.
He sounds like, a football coach.
He's a hunter that you could visit with at the hardware store. In a dictionary, if you had weird and anti-weird, you'd have Tim Walz's picture there. I bet knows how to make a good hot dish casserole.
He's very down to earth.
It's his authenticity.
Authentic communicator.
The word joy came up a lot.
He's joyful.
He seems happy.
A happy-go-lucky warrior.
And he's happy and a happy warrior.
The joyful warrior.
He is one happy warrior.
A happy warrior.
The happy warrior.
Nice guy.
Good guy.
A very nice person.
Reliable.
Definitely affable.
He is an extremely affable individual.
Very affable, plain-speaking way, a folksy vibe. This folksy idea.
Terrific vibe.
Vibes election.
Kind of a folksy guy.
The idea that Tim Walz is some lefty is just not true.
I don't think either of them are Bernie Sanders progressive.
A rather safe pick. I think a safe pick.
The safe choice. This is a do no harm pick. Do no harm.
He's just more of a vanilla pick.
It's a younger version of Joe Biden.
We got Brett Summer. We've got coconut tree memes.
There's joy in the Democratic Party right now.
Those outside of Pittsburgh loves Tim Walz. So talk about Walz.
Breaking news.
A bombshell.
Today is a turning point. Today was historically bad for President Trump.
Today was a turning point.
A turning point.
We're at a turning point here.
The beginning of the end for the Trump presidency.
The beginning of the end.
And breaking news.
We have another bombshell.
Mike Pence might have to assume the office of the presidency.
The call for impeachment.
Rumblings of the word impeachment.
Breaking news.
Another bombshell out of the White House.
I believe this is the beginning of the end.
I do too.
It's really the beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end.
He may be feeling the walls closing in on him.
All the walls closing in on him.
The walls closing in on him.
Breaking news, a new bombshell.
One astrologer says this means the beginning of the end for President Donald Trump.
The beginning of the end of the Trump presidency.
Trump will resign.
Trump is going to resign.
Is this the tipping point? I know we've said it over and over.
You think this is a tipping point?
And over and over.
This is a tipping point.
And over and over.
Breaking news, President Trump off the rails.
It was the beginning of the end today.
It's the beginning of the end.
It reminds me a lot of the last days of Nixon.
Breaking news tonight, new bombshell.
This is the beginning of the end. The beginning of the end.
The walls are closing in.
The walls closing in.
The walls closing in.
Breaking overnight bombshell.
Some of what he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird.
These guys are just weird. That's who they are.
As weird and creepy as J.D. Vance.
Super weird idea from J.D. Vance.
Yeah, it's quite weird. They're just plain weird.
Just plain weird.
Just plain weird.
That stuff is weird. They come across weird, and then they start being weird. Yeah, they're weird.
Being a really weird.
He's such a weirdo.
Donald Trump and his weirdo running mate are weird. deeply and profoundly weird.
They are weird.
These Republicans just being weird, it's just weird. It's really weird.
Republican weirdness goes even deeper.
He said a lot of things that are weird, a weird style that he brings, weird policies.
Let's start with the weird thing, because it is a thing.
Just plain weird.
What was weird was talking about Diet Mountain Dew. Who drinks Diet Mountain Dew?
You ever seen the guy laugh? That seems very weird to me, that an adult can go through 6.5 years of being in the public eye. If he has laughed, it's at someone, not with someone. That is weird behavior.
Weird and cultish.
These are weird people on the other side.
He kind of doubled down on his weird ideas.
I think weird is probably generous.
Simply weird.
These guys are just plain weird. Vance as weird?
You know, as the campaign said, weird.
It really is just plain weird.
JD Vance, plain weird.
I mean, I don't know how else you could read it.
Weird. It is kind of weird.
We're not afraid of weird people.
The other side, they're just weird.
Why are you being so weird?
Vance has done something more extreme, more weird.
No matter what kind of weird stuff they keep saying.
Trump and Vance are just weird, in addition to being dangerous to democracy.
That's the weird part that's the most engaging.
Whom he addressed as my beautiful Christians, which was super weird.
Weird tech bro, JD Vance.
He's a weird guy.
Yeah, so you guys get the picture. And I can't forget this one last clip that I want to show you guys, because I've got a lot more, but I'm going to spare you guys from that. It's gone on long enough. You guys get the picture. Thank goodness for the internet, right? They all repeat the same lines, and they still do it to this day. And if you don't believe me, check out the latest talking point of the mainstream media and Democrats, constitutional crisis.
By definition, are we in a constitutional crisis?
Dangerously close to a constitutional crisis.
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 I think this is the most serious constitutional crisis the country has faced, certainly since Watergate.
Interesting. You mean to tell me they all at once all think exactly alike, all at the same time? I don't think so. I don't think so. There's a talking point that comes down from the top, and it tells everybody to say the same lines. Constitutional crisis. Donald Trump's, you guys remember the threat to democracy, right? I told you, I've got more clips, okay? I could probably make an hour-long video of this stuff, all right? It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And like Joe Rogan said, it's the reason why none of us believe mainstream media anymore. It's the reason why mainstream media has lost its power. It's the exact reason why mainstream media's evaluation is continually tanking. You guys remember where CNN got sued by the Army vet, the military veteran, and they had to disclose their evaluation. And the lawyer was talking about how their evaluation is continually dropping year over year over year. Yeah. And I expect it to continue to fall. Their viewership is continuing to fall. They've already started making cuts, right? Rachel Maddow had to take a cut. Joy Reid had to take a cut. All right. They're cutting salaries. I mean, and I still think they're extremely overpaid, but they're cutting salaries, and they just don't correct course. Joe Rogan said it. They won't correct course. They will crash and burn before they correct course. And it's quite interesting to watch. And honestly, I'm listen, for a while I was annoyed with it because it's mainstream media, it's on national television, but hey, it's only good for folks like myself. They've only made people like me relevant. And they say it's this big conspiracy. Donald Trump is paying a bunch of creators. Well, if he's paying us, where's my check? You can invest. Like, you remember when I believe it was Harry Sisson. I believe it was Harry. When people dug into the background and they found out, oh, Harry Sisson is hired by this certain agency, and this certain agency received money from Biden's White House. And Harry Sisson is under that agency, as well as some other left-wing creators. Kind of interesting. I'm not hired by any agency. I haven't received a darn penny from Uncle Trump. I would love to. Like, don't get it twisted. Hey, listen. If Uncle Trump happens to see this, send me a check, please. Okay? Send me a check, please. Hit my PayPal. I don't care. Send me some money, baby. Ain't no shame in my game. Yes, send me a check. Goodness gracious, all these folks on the left getting paid. Let me get a check too. But, you know, the only reason why folks like myself are extremely relevant now is because of mainstream media and the Democrat Party themselves. They did this to themselves. If they just would have been honest and just gave us the news, gave us the facts, and let us do with it what we wanted to do with it, maybe people like me wouldn't exist out here, right? But they couldn't do that. They had to lie. They had to repeat the same lines and made it completely obvious that they were lying. And so here we are. And I think we ain't going anywhere. Because as you saw, they're doubling, tripling down. But thanks for tuning in as always. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.